Hey y'all, I'm so happy to see you here. I'm surprised at so many people. If you've never been here before, I'm Lucy from Paper, Glitter, Glue. And you may notice I don't use much glitter, but I use a lot of paper and even more glue.
Hey y'all.
Oh shoot.
I'm so happy to see you.
I had to mute. I have you guys so I can see the all the comments. I see some people are in cold places, some people are in warm places, and we are in a fairly cold place right now. It's for some weird reason South Carolina is colder than a lot of other places. You know, South Carolina. We are upstate South Carolina, which means we're near the North Carolina border, where it's pretty. We've got some mountains nearby. In fact, the highest mountain on the eastern U.S. is about 100 miles from here. It's Mount Mitchell. Okay, I see Sonia, Roseanne, and Berta, and Tricia, Delvine. Hey, Delvine. Corey, who I called Courier one time. I just read it wrong. Cindy. So lots of people here. So today we're going to be making, I'm doing a series of cake toppers because for one of my, that's a cat ear if you're wondering. That's Alley Cat. Usually I lock her up because she can be a little aggravating, but I didn't lock her up today. Rather, I put her in a room. It's not like I, lock her up. But anyway, when I got the idea of doing these cake toppers because I was I am in Abby Kirsten's Cricket Craft Fest, and I made a really nice happy birthday banner. And I wanted to kind of do some more festive things, so I started making cake toppers, and I'll show you. First, I'll show you. Really, I think it's my favorite. It is the Flamingo cake topper. This is the small version. That's the bigger version. I really think the little one fits better on a cake, but maybe you want to use it somewhere else, not necessarily on a cake. So anyway, and then somebody asked for a stork. So I made the stork cake topper. And I also have made what I call easy versions, just cutouts that are, they take like a minute, 5 minutes. It takes longer to cut them out. This is the stork easy version. And then let me pull out a flamingo easy version. And I've got the Swan easy version. So it's really easy, and I think it's cute. I think it's really cute, but I kind of like the 3D ones. And I did not get to make one ahead of time, so we're going to kind of experiment together. Okay, I see Jeannie and Peggy Sue and Paula. I see my brother, Ben Foxworth. He is my trusty assistant. So when I forget things like paper towels to wipe off glue, he gets them for me. Or if I want to show you something else that I've forgotten to bring over to my station, he helps me. And then he's pretty entertaining in the comments. He likes to play with words, and he's good at it. Okay, so this is design number 209 in the Paper Glitter Glue Library, and I made a mistake. This often happens. I'll show you when we make the, let me show you. When we make the version with the 3D version, I didn't round this off, so I'm going to fix the file. And another thing I did is if you're going to cover the wings with crepe paper, they can be solid. They don't need to have these cutouts. So anyway, I'm going to fix that, but it still works. It's just you might have to trim it a little bit. Okay, now I'm going to turn on my overhead light, this light, and switch cameras. Let me click the right place, switch cameras. Okay, yeah. And let me move it a little closer. Sorry about the rotate. I don't know if it makes you kind of woozy or not. Okay, let's move it over more. I think that's good. All right, so this is the quick version. You need 2 wings, and they need to be like mirror images of each other. So one for one side, one for the other. And then there's this neck piece to give us the eye and the little nostril. So let's glue that on the back. And you know, when I try to remember to do this. When I have something with a cutout, I don't want the glue to show, so I try to remember to apply the glue to the piece with the cutout. It doesn't always work. Or rather, I don't always remember. And I made the neck piece longer because on these birds with kind of skinny necks, that's the most fragile part. So there's a little bit, actually, what I did was I changed it slightly. I'm not this one doesn't fit exactly, but in the pattern it should. Okay, let's see. Yeah, that looks good. Okay, and you only need one neck piece. And now let's go ahead and glue the wings. So just like we did with the, oh, and I'll show you. In the pattern, I modified this because you don't need the feathers showing. So in the pattern, I kind of truncated it. So you'll notice that on the pattern. I think it makes it easier to line it up too, if you don't have to try to match up feathers. Okay, and the feathers go upward. So let's apply glue here and try to make sure we do opposite sides. Oh, this is cardstock, and this is, well, actually it's watercolor paper. I just like it because it's 140 pound, but you can use any kind of cardstock. If you use, the easiest cardstock to find is 65 pound cardstock, and if you use 65 pound cardstock, I'd glue 2 layers together. Okay, let's make sure we match up the angles. Can you see? Matching up the angles, sliding it a bit. Okay, that's one wing. So that is, let's see, that's going to go on that, on the opposite side. And I'm going to do the same thing here, and I'm going to trim this one too. And let's make sure this goes on this side, that I line it up right. And let me see. Like I said, I tweaked things a little bit. So I want to make sure. I'm just going to trim this one, just so this part doesn't show. So I just trimmed this a little bit. Okay, and this will be this side, so applying glue. When you flip things over and back and forth, it's easy to get confused. So I'm like, this goes on this side. The wing tips go up. See, Vanessa is here. I'm really glad to see y'all. I missed you last week. I didn't even get an email out. It was terrible. And you can kind of decide where you want the wings, but after looking at it, I kind of like them tipping up a little bit, like I did on this one. And when I trimmed the black piece, it doesn't show. So I'm gonna tip the wings up a little bit. And glue, applying glue. Okay, now you may wonder why I didn't glue it together. And that's because when I glue it together, I need to add the support between. So I didn't want to add it, glue them together and then like have to peel them apart, which I've done before. Okay, let's apply the glue to this wing on the opposite side. Oh, I see Barbara Rogers. Hey. Okay, there we go. Now, for the swans, if as a cake topper, we don't have to worry about legs. So you can use like a regular toothpick if you want. I like these because they're stronger. These are extra long toothpicks. I found they're Diamond brand. I found them at my grocery store, so I like that. But you can also use, these are called bamboo forks. They're pretty thick though. I mean, if you look at it, it's pretty thick. So it kind of makes a lump, but it will certainly work. And this is, like I said, this is the large size Swan. And this is the small size Swan. So I believe this one is about 3 inches, just over 3 inches wide and 2 3/4 tall. So this, the big Swan is big. You might not want it on a cake just because it's so big, but I did them in 3 different sizes, just trying to make it easier for you. And then these break really easily, so if you didn't want it to be that long, you can just snap it off real easily. And let's open it up. I'm going to glue it to the side with the background. And I'm going to use a thicker glue, just so I could kind of embed the toothpick in the glue. See what I said? I do like glue. So I just wanted it kind of embedded so it doesn't rotate and leave. So I'm going to switch to my thinner glue, my lighter glue rather, with a narrow tip, my Barely Art glue. So for putting that on the neck. All right, let's see if I messed up. Nope, I did it right. Okay, let's squish it together. And it does make a little lump. Makes a little tiny lump. And then match up the edges around the head. And there we have our beautiful Swan. Doesn't she look good? And then I think it would look really good as a black swan too. And one nice thing about the swans, actually all of these birds, is if you have 2 of them together, it's almost like they form a heart. So I think that's, oh wait, no, it's not done. What am I thinking? Beak. So I cut these out of yellow cardstock. And this is where people who are really good with the little special tweezers. And also, you see these people online, and they have really beautiful manicured hands, and then they put the tweezer down and it sticks exactly where they want. But it's not exactly me. I mean, I manage, but it can be a little awkward. But you may be one of those really talented people, beautifully manicured, who can use the tweezers and lay it down perfectly. There. Yeah. I believe the Swan needed the beak. Okay, there is our large Swan and our small Swan. Okay, now we're going to make a 3D version. And I have not made one yet, so, oh shoot. I just pushed him into the my styrofoam, and the toothpick wasn't glued down sufficiently. So, in other words, I'm going to let him dry for a minute. All right, the 3D version. So, this is the mistake I made. Let me see if I can find another example with the smaller one. Let me find a small, well, are these two the same? Let's see. Yes. So when you put it in, you cut a slit with your craft knife. I think this sticks out too much, and I'm going to round it and fix the pattern so that these are rounded. So I've already trimmed two of these, so I'm just going to trim it a little bit. So if you downloaded it, you can trim it, but I would wait and just get the corrected pattern. And I use my craft knife to make a good slot, a good slit rather, into the styrofoam. And do you see how it makes a better, styrofoam makes my nose itch. Do you see how it makes a better angle? All right, and I like to have the head in place so when I'm gluing the tail and everything else on, it's lined up properly. If you just do the ball, you may rotate it, and I don't know, it just seems like this is a landmark for you. Okay, let's use our thicker glue again. Scooch it in there. Oh yeah, make a mess. Wait, I'm crooked. I'm going to try to straighten you out. Okay, I'm just going to add some on the neck that goes in deeper. And I actually should have put the beak on first, but we can do it later. Put the top down because I'm kind of, anytime you have thicker glue, I usually store it upside down. So I've kind of got it angled over here so the glue will come out easier. There we go. All right, why don't we do the beak before I forget. Here's one piece, and I made lots of extra pieces because you know I lose everything. And of course I can't find them. They're here. There they are. There we go. There we go. There we go. Yeah, it's easier when it's flat to get these little fiddly pieces on. That was the problem. And once I cover this with the crepe paper, it'll be even harder. So I'm putting the beak on. And you may wonder, I don't know if I said it earlier, I made the neck piece longer because it's just fragile. So it gives thickness all the way through the neck, through our swan's elegant neck. Okay, let me move pieces out of the way. So let me get my crepe paper. And this crepe paper is like fancy Italian crepe paper. And what's cool about it is how flexible it is. Let me cut off a little square so I'll show you. It's really, I don't know what the word is, corrugated. It's very wrinkled, or I think in medical terms it's rugated, like the lining of your stomach has these ridges, and it's called rugae or something. I don't know if I'm saying it right, but you see how it stretches? And then I think I have kind of inexpensive, this is really old, but this is crepe paper you get on these rolls, and they're very inexpensive, but they don't have much stretch at all. So, but it works. It does work, but it's not very stretchy. And I like the stretchy part. So let's cut some little feathers in it. I cut off a strip, fold it, use small scissors. You can do rounded feathers or, peaked feathers. Just kind of decide. Barbara's saying she loves her tweezers. If I'm not mistaken, Barbara is a really elegant card maker. And so she probably does a lot of real detail work. Rugated is a very good word, even if it's not a common word. Kind of ruffled, I don't know. Okay, let's move this out of the way. And so these are our feathers. This is a strip of feathers. It doesn't take long at all to cut. People have asked, can you cut it on your Cricut? Yes, you can. But especially with the really nice crepe paper, you have to like practically iron it onto a brand new mat for it to stick. And I just don't think it's worth it. And you saw how easy I cut it. Okay, let me see. I got one ready. Okay, the other thing about how stretchy this is, I want the tail to kind of fit around the rear. So, oh yeah, you can do any kind of color. You can do any kind of color you want. You know, you can make a swan. You could have a pink swan. I think that would be pretty. And certainly a black swan would be very intriguing. But yeah. The only thing is, like we did with our flamingos, I had to match the crepe paper with the flamingo, and I actually inked the crepe paper a little bit to give it a little more dimension, and then I also inked around the flamingo. So, and you could do that with the swan as well. Okay, so what I've done is flared this out so that it will fit on the back of the swan. And using the goopy glue again, the more free-flowing and slightly thicker glue. See, it kind of holds. It's not real drippy. Turbo tacky glue. Sometimes it's hard to find. You know, you get used to one glue and then they don't make it anymore. So I used to use quick dry, but it's harder to find. I can only order it on Amazon. So, okay, let's see. I think now what happens is I'll start doing stuff and then the tail will fall off. So I'm trying to smush it down. I'm gonna add more. I needed more under there. See, oh, isn't glue fun? You know, I was too old for the slime fad. But I think if I'd been a little kid when slime came out, I would have been a slime master. Okay, so ideally, if I was making this in, I would try to leave, you know, set it down for a little while to let this goopy glue adhere better. But as we are making it in real time, I've cut some stuff, so I am going to, if I can get the glue top off and wipe my hands, I'm going to keep going round and round. Now somebody, I can't remember who did it. Somebody made a swan and really wanted the swan to be fat, so used a lot of paper. So I'm using like, I think this is a 1.5 inch ball of styrofoam. So you may need a fatter ball of styrofoam. See, I knocked his tail feathers off. I thought that would happen. Or rather, I was afraid that would happen. Yes, you could put some straight pins in there. That would work. I thought about that just as I knocked it off. Okay, here we go again. Oh, I know what I need to do. I'm going to sit this down, and I'm going to stretch this one out so that the part that goes around is a little more flared. So maybe it won't knock the tail feathers off quite so easy. See if it'll kind of flare. Okay, here we go again. Nope, I did it again. Okay, I'm going to have to get trusty assistant. That pen cushion right there on the counter just just kind of across from me. It's got a spool of thread on top. See, I'm trying to compensate for being messy by adding more glue. It's not exactly the way to do it. Okay, yeah, thank you. Okay, this is a pin cushion. And I'm just gonna see. I'm trying to leave it so I can pull them out when I'm done. I'm trying to angle them so they hold better, but I can still pull them out. Wait. Yeah, all that glue, so remind me to remove the pins. It's always the first one that's the hardest, the first one to get started. And then it starts getting easier. Okay, here we go. See, we're getting somewhere. The pen idea, whoever said that was good. But honestly, what you could do is put a leg in it, put the tail on, let the tail dry, put a leg in so you can like set it somewhere. You can stick it in like your styrofoam. And, you know, maybe you're making a couple of them so you can, you know, let them dry, move on. You could be covering the wings while the tail is dry. Oh, I think it's looking good. I'm sorry, I'm migrating out of the screen. Yeah, I just like it as 3D. Now, I'm not sure about the proportion. This ball may be too small for a swan. Maybe just a really elegant swan, slim and trim swan. But I had two sizes. I had teeny size, like just under 1 inch, and I've got this size, which is, what was it? It's like 1 3/4. It's not 2 inches. Okay, that wing was a little messy, but I do think it's looking good. Okay, so now I'm going to use a narrower strip to go around the neck. But first, cleaning. Because if you keep the glue on your hand, then whatever you're trying to stick down sticks more readily to your hand than what it's supposed to glue to. Okay, let's see. Pretty good. Now, for those of you who follow me because of buildings, I've got a really cool church. One of our members wanted to make a Norman church, and he actually designed the pattern for me. I have to tweak it because when you're making a pattern for other people, not just for yourself, you know, I can compensate for things. You know, if I mess them up, like I didn't really do the front of the neck right, I can compensate. But when you're making it for other people, you really have to make sure all the little pixels are right, or, you know, rather, I try to make sure all the little pixels are right. So I've got to tweak the pattern a bit. And immediately stab my fingers in the glue. And I think that's good. Now, so this is not a fat swan. And I don't know. We'll see how okay, I'm going to take these out before they adhere, before my glue gets a hold of them. Now let's do the wings and see how the wings help with the swan. Probably the medium-sized neck, which I don't think I printed up. I cut out. I only cut out 2 sizes. I cut out the small and you see I think this is too big for the small neck, but let me see, where are my little styrofoam balls? But I think it'll work with the 1-inch balls. Okay. Next. Yeah, Ben's talking about Neuschwanstein, which is the castle, kind of the famous castle in Germany, in Bavaria. We went above, it's above Munich. I think it was 2 hours by bus above Munich, and we got to see it. If you hear stuff, that's the cats chasing each other. Okay, where are my wings? See, I think the wings are going to be enough, add enough body. Now, remember I said I made a mistake. The wing just needs to be solid. So what I'm going to do is, I think I'll go ahead and glue the black piece behind them. Because I'm going to cover it, no. Let's see. Let's see if I have spares. I think I cut out extra pieces. I think I'm just going to glue 2 together just to make it stronger, since I'm going to add layers of the, which glue? Since I'm going to add layers of crepe paper on top. So this just makes it a little stronger. Again, I'm going to modify the pattern for the cutout so that, and let's make opposite ones, so that this isn't cut out and it's stronger. I see all the hearts. That's funny. It's kind of the slow part of the video. Okay, next, what am I doing? Oh, okay. So now we're just going to kind of do layers of crepe paper around it. Now, I always struggle a little bit here. So let's start at the back and layer it just like we did. Oh, see, that's going to look good. Okay. So I have to cut little pieces because we don't need big pieces. And I want that to look a little more feather-like. Apply glue. I'm using the thinner glue because it's not structural. I'm not trying to hold something heavy down like I was trying to get the tail to stick. It's not like that. And let's do it on both sides. This ought to stick pretty well, I hope. And I'm going to trim it so it looks a little more tail-like. Or rather feather-like. A couple more. Actually, I'm going to do, let's see, I think I got one that's cut better. Yeah. And you can kind of, you don't need a bunch of layers. 3 or 4 is probably good. Meaning 1, 2, 3, 4. And the hard one to glue is the last one because you have to make it go around the arch of the wing. the front arch of the wing. Okay, so get that down. Add glue to the back. And the only downside of this crepe paper is that because it is rugated, it's rough like this, it, you know, you kind of have to get the glue in the creases. That's the only thing. I think this is going to look good. I think this is going to work well with our little body, the body of our swan. I almost said Swan. Thank you for stopping by, Corey. You get the idea. This part's kind of repetitive, so it's a good moment if you have to leave. Okay, and next, let's see if this one will cover it. So I want the front edge to bend, so I'm going to stretch it out. Good. I'm just kind of trimming as I go. And blob of glue. Okay, now. Oh, yes, I was supposed to, somebody emailed me. Was it Eugene? Yes, I need a new calendar. I'll send out the calendar. I'll do that. One thing about March, I've already sent the calendar out, but we always have an Easter contest, an Easter house contest, and because Easter is like the first week of April, you have to be sure and order, make your house in March. So I'm trying to remember to tell people, because I mean, that's really sort of my specialty. I like stuff like this, but I love to make little houses. So if you want to make a house for our Easter contest, you're going to have to do it get it in by March, so, or most of the month of March. So I just want to kind of warn people about that. Okay, I want this to look a little better. Yes, I like that. Okay, there's my wing. Okay, now the other thing is, and again, this is why you should let it dry. We kind of have to curve it to fit the body. And just like on the Stork, actually on the Stork pattern, I think I made them too big. But I think that adds plenty to the body of the swan. Actually, I'm going to angle it up. See, doesn't that look good? Okay, so now we use the thicker glue, the goopier glue. I'm going to put it all in here. I've used so much, it's running out. Amazon always suggests, whenever I'm there, it's like, you last purchased this. Like, yeah, I know. You're right, I need more. Although most often I can get my glue from the hobby stores I go to. Okay. So you can be a perfectionist and really get this to curve to the ball or not worry about it much. And just, because this is the important part, sort of where it arches up. I know I'm supposed to clean off my surface so it's not distracting. Okay, now the last thing we do is make a little insert for the toothpick. And like I said, I'm going to use, where are they? Here they are. This Diamond brand toothpick. And I am going to break it off just a little bit. And I am going to put a bunch of glue on it. And the other thing I thought about is, as a cake topper, you've gone through all this trouble and you're going to put it on top of the cake, so it may get icing on it. So I thought maybe if you wanted to, you could cut out a little circle of parchment paper so it won't show, but it will protect the swan. There we go. What do you think of the swan? Yeah, yeah. I don't think the tops of wings are attached because the swan has to fly. Okay, she had anchored it. So anyway, I'm gonna switch to my other camera. I'm gonna rotate this one away. There we go. Okay, did somebody? Oh, foam balls. Okay, foam balls. Paula asked, here, let's get the foam balls again. So for the larger one, it is, it's probably like 1.6 inches. So I found them easy at the craft store. And then this one is 0.96. So they're centimeters now, but it's almost 1. So yes, this is just over 1.5, and this is just under 1. So for the little one, I'd use the 1 inch. And for the big one, the 1.5. Okay, all right, so there is our swan cake topper. And like I said, this is the large, I think this is the large version. Let me find my big swan. Yes, it's the large version. And I'll make another wing soon. And I will fix, right after this, I will fix the pattern where I make this a more gentle curve, and I will, for this version, for the 3D version, and I'll get rid of these because you can see through them just a little bit. So I don't want that to happen. I want it to just be white. Okay, so let's see. Maria says she hopes we're warming up. We are warming up. It gets above freezing today. Our snow is melting. We have 4 inches of snow, of powdery snow. It was freaky, but we loved it. You know, I'm retired, so I don't, when I was at the hospital, if you couldn't be sure you could get home, you had to spend the night in the hospital. They had like cots lined out. So it was really nerve-wracking when I worked at the hospital in the ER when the weather was bad. But now I'm retired, so it's like, as long as I have power, I'm just toasty, watching TV. So anyway. Oh, so Jean really likes the swan the best. Thank you for that. So next week, a building. We're going to do a Norman church, which is more of a, it's like a really, like old churches you see in England and stuff. So it'll be different. And I think you'll like it. So, okay, alrighty. Well, y'all take care, and you have fun. And if you're where it's cold, stay warm. And if you're in a hot place, like I think Delvine is in summer, I think she's in South Africa, so I hope she stays cool. Okay, Sarah said don't go. I'm not Sarah. Oh, what's her name? I'm sorry. Names are like sort of going. So anyway, so y'all take care, and I'll see you next week with the Norman Church. Bye, y'all.